Week 9 must-sits. These players are about to tank, so let's avoid having them in your lineup. But before I get into it, welcome to the playlist. Thank you for kicking it. I am Jimzy, and this is Fantasy on Repeat. Now that's out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about each position. I'm going to start off with the quarterback. This is going to be Jared Goff. Jared Goff is risky this week, and here's why. He has inconsistent production, his volatile performances recently. 2 of his last 3 home games, his under 16 fantasy points. He has low passing volume, and it doesn't help. He's only had 1 game over 30 plus pass attempts, and that limits his upside. He has a tough matchup ahead, and the Minnesota Vikings are coming off a bye, so the defense is healthier, key players have returned, and this pass defense is ranked 15th, and Goff struggled here before. Week 2, just 12.3 fantasy points. The game script favors the run, so the Lions are big favorites, and expect a conservative play calling. Running game gets priority, and this is going to be less passing volume, and it lowers the ceiling for Goff. The bottom line is he's inconsistent, tough matchup, run heavy script, and this is a clear sit. Look for a safer option this week. Now my must sit for the running back position is going to be Jordan Mason. He is fading fast, and I'm hurt because I have him everywhere, and here's why. The backfield has reverted to a committee. In week 8, Aaron Jones has returned, and Mason's usage just plummeted. 4 carries, 1 target, 6 total scrimmage yards. It looks like Jones is back on top. He outtouched Mason 7-5, and as Jones ramps up, Mason's role continues just to shrink, and he has limited receiving work. JJ McCarthy should be back under center. It's going to be a pass-heavy offense expected, and Jones dominated passing downs. So Mason sees very few opportunities, and this brutal matchup ahead. They got the Detroit Lions run defense. It's elite, and they're ranked 4th against the run, and only 1 running back has scored 14 plus fantasy points on him, and the game script likely favors the passing. Mason's floor now is just extremely low, and his recent production was a mirage because strong numbers came when Jones was out. Now the regression to the mean. Week 8, he had 1.6 PPR fantasy points, and I started him. He is back to the backup status. Bottom line is time to move on, bench him, or even drop him, because that's what I'm thinking about. Would you drop Jordan Mason if you had him? Let me know down in the comments, because I know better options exist, and only hold for bench insurance, and long-term value is very minimal now. The next must-sit running back is going to be Ashton Jeanty, and let's talk about it. You might not want to start him this week, and I'm just trying to bring awareness because this offensive struggles are real. The Raiders offense they haven't clicked. Drives stall, the blocking has been bad, and Jeanty's production has dropped because of it. They did have a bye week to regroup, but we're not really expecting a major turnaround just yet. He had a low week 7 output. Before the bye, Jeanty posted his worst game of the season, only 7 touches for 44 total yards. And the Raiders were shut out 31-0 by Kansas City. That kind of game script just kills the running back value. And now the matchup ahead, he is now facing a Jacksonville Jaguars that are a top 5 run defense. They allow the 4th fewest yards after contact and 5th fewest rushing yards per game. And that's just not a matchup that you want to test. He has volatile usage. He is technically the lead back, but the workload has been all over the place. Some weeks he sees 20 touches, and others he doesn't even see half of that. The inconsistencies make him hard to trust, and the rookie wall concerns is that he's coming with high expectations, but lately the numbers haven't matched the hype. And it's fair to wonder if he's going to be stuck here, or if the Raiders haven't just built the offense to support him yet. And I get it, Jeanty's not an automatic sit. He's just a risky play this week. Between the struggling offense and now facing a brutal Jaguars matchup, there are safer options on most benches. And if you do start him, treat him as a low-end flex and keep your expectations realistic. Now going to my must-sit wide receiver, I'm going to go with Chris Olave. And this might not be the best week to start him. The new quarterback brings a lot of questions, and rookie Tyler Show is going to be taking over under center, and his chemistry with Olave is unproven. And rookie quarterbacks can struggle to hit wide receivers in stride, so this might bring up a lot of problems. Chris Olave's output usually depends on his volume and his big play usage, but this can drop compared to what we had with Spencer Rattler. Now having a tough matchup ahead, Chris Olave faces the Los Angeles Rams, one of the NFL's stingiest defenses. They are the 2nd fewest fantasy points allowed and 7th most turnovers faced. Their secondary limits explosiveness, and the pass rush will challenge the rookie for show. And this is a struggling Saints offense. The team has sputtered, especially in the red zone. Week 8, only 3 points against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the QB change is a sign of offensive struggles. This is going to limit Olave's touchdown chances. Just lower your expectations because fantasy rankings have him at around wide receiver 20 this week, and that tells you something. There are safer, more predictable options out there. Olave's talent is real, no doubt about that, but a rookie quarterback plus an elite defense, it just makes him a risky play in week 9. If you have better options, sitting him is a smart, safe choice. My next must-sit wide receiver is going to be Courtland Sutton, and here's why it's going to be a rough one for him this week. He's going up against elite passing matchup. The Texans have a top-tier secondary. Sutton will likely face Derek Stingley Jr., a lockdown corner who shadows top receivers. This season, only 2 receivers have scored more than 12.9 fantasy points against Houston, and with the Broncos, the offense has been inconsistent. Sure, they can score 44 points against the Cowboys recently, but that was a weak defense. Bo Nix faces a much tougher test in Houston, and sustaining drives won't be easy. There is emerging target competition here. They got Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant, RJ Harvey. They all caught Nix's touchdown passes in week 8. Even Evan Ingram is eating into targets, and Sutton's share of high value looks could drop. And with the inconsistent recent production, Sutton hasn't scored a touchdown since week 4. Even last week, he posted just 10.7 fantasy points despite a high-scoring Broncos game. He's been yardage reliable, but not a scoring threat. So Sutton remains a key piece of the Broncos offense, but the Texans matchup plus offensive unpredictability makes him a risky start in week 9. If you must play him, treat him as a touchdown-dependent wide receiver 3 and temper expectations accordingly. My must-sit tight end is going to be Sam Laporta, and why his week 9 outlook is going to be a bit shaky. They have increased target competition. Jameson Williams is getting more looks. Jahmyr Gibbs is also seeing more targets, and Sam Laporta has dropped 4th into the team in targets. After being 2nd last season, that means his fantasy production can swing week to week. Fewer passes are coming his way than past seasons, so Laporta has a strong athleticism and a solid floor. He has bumpy recent production. He's had strong games this season, but more blocking and less receiving. Coach Dan Campbell says Laporta's blocking has improved, and he's playing more snaps, but he's taking a hit on the targets. But this week, he's facing the Vikings, a team that's held 3 of their last 6 tight ends to single-digit fantasy points. If you have a more consistent tight end option, sitting Laporta could be a smart gamble, but for most, his upside makes him tough to bench. I get it, but just be aware. My must-sit flex of the weeks, I can go either running back, wide receiver, tight end. I'm going to go at wide receiver Quentin Johnson, and this is why this week might not be ideal to start him. He has volatile and inconsistent production. Johnson had 2 huge games early in the season, but he's also held to single-digit fantasy points 4 times. Week 8, 0 targets against the Vikings. That's a goose egg, a donut. Now with emerging target competition as well, Ladd McConkey is back. Rookie tight end Oronde Gadsden is getting looks too, and Johnson's target share has been squeezed. Week 8, McConkey had 10 targets, Gadsden had 5, Johnston, nothing. And the systematic factors is Chargers like to spread the ball around. Outside of Keenan Allen, consistent production is hard to find. Week 8, they jump to an early lead and they lean on the short passes and the run, further limiting Johnson's opportunities. With lingering injuries as well, it hasn't been listed, but Johnson's been dealing with aches lately, and that could explain some of the decreased usage. And Johnston has big play potential, no doubt about that, but he has unreliable targets, and there are emerging pass catchers, and boom or bust ceiling makes him a risky play this week. If you have safer options, sitting Johnston in week 9 is a reasonable move to avoid a low-scoring game. And my must-sit defense of the week is going to be the Buffalo Bills, and this is why it might be a tough matchup for them in fantasy. They are facing Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs quarterback is at MVP level, and the past matchups, Mahomes has consistently put up big numbers. And when he puts up big numbers, that makes it hard for any defense to shine. And also, the Bills are going to be missing Ed Oliver. The Bills have placed defensive tackle Ed Oliver on injured reserve. He's a star on the defensive line and a key for pressuring quarterbacks and stopping the run, and his absence will hurt the ability to control the line of scrimmage, and this can be a potential shootout. The Bills versus the Chiefs often turn into a high-scoring affair, and both offenses can put up points fast. And that's bad news for defensive fantasy production, as low-risk opportunities. The Chiefs take care of the ball, they allow few turnovers, and limiting the Bills' chances for defensive scores. The fantasy ceiling is very low, and also they have a very vulnerable run defense, and the Bills have struggled stopping the run all season, especially without Oliver. It's even weaker. And while the Chiefs aren't really a dominant running team, they'll have more ways to move the ball. In the end, the Bills' DST is risky this week. Tough quarterback play, missing star players, likely a shootout, and low turnover potential. For week 9, consider avoiding them in fantasy lineup. Alright, y'all, those are my must-sits of week 9. Again, players that are about to tank, and I would avoid them in my lineup if I could. And don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Let's chop it up. Do you have any of these guys? Let me know. And if you need more recommendations, I have my stash videos coming out next. Don't forget, y'all, hit me up. Let's chop it up. Fantasy on repeat. Jimzy is out. Peace.